Hello everyone, this is your favorite YouTube channel On-Way Mechanic and my name is Shahbaz. Today I'm here to meet a legend. These set of legends were born in the year 1978 in India and conquered the world. Now they are back in a new attire with new set of clothing and a new engine. These are the new set of motorcycles from the Classic Legend Motorcycle Company and they are called the YESDs. But today we are going to cover two of the ensemble from YESDs, which is the YESD Scrambler and the YESD Roadster. Today we are only going to cover the walk around these motorcycles. We will soon get you the full riding review on our channel On-Way Mechanic. But first of all, we will be talking about this Roadster. Now, a lot of people may confuse this one for a cruiser motorcycle, which this is not. This is not a cruiser motorcycle, it is definitely a sheer roadster. With the stance that you sit on, middle weighted pegs, the overall build quality of the motorcycle is pretty premium, pretty sturdy. You get a great feeling when you're sitting on this motorcycle. The pod looks very fabulous. Now, talking about the specifics of this motorcycle, the powertrain on this one is a 334cc liquid-cooled single-cylinder 4-stroke engine, pretty similar to what we've seen on the Java Perak, just tuned differently. Now, this engine casing is pretty reminiscent of what used to come on the original Road King YESD, but has been tuned to perform equivalent to the new motorcycles. Now, the engine of this motorcycle is housed on a double cradle frame, has a 6-speed manual gearbox, produces around 29.7 PS of power with 29 Newton meters of torque. Now, overall feel of this motorcycle is pretty fine. You get a whistling sound while you're riding it. And that's pretty much about the engine. The wheelbase on this one is a 1440 millimeter with 184 kilos of weight. This sounds like a non-manageable motorcycle, but with 790 millimeter of seat height, it is pretty manageable to scoot around through your legs. I'm 6'1", pretty comfortably placed on the ground. My feet are on the ground firmly. The legs are tilted. I'm assuming people of height 5'5", 5'6" should be able to manage it pretty well. Now, the overall stance of the motorcycle is pretty comfortable. I think this one is the most comfortable out of the three offerings from YESD. And it looks pretty sturdy, right? You feel like you're riding a Rebel from Honda or probably a Harley Davidson motorcycle, right? That's what I think about it. Now, talking about the tires on this motorcycle, the front one is a 100 by 90 section and it's a 18-incher. On the rear, you have a 130 by 80 section, which is a 17-incher. So giving a tilted look to the motorcycle, and that's why a lot of people confuse it for a cruiser. Now, overall look and feel of the motorcycle, everything is black down there. The colors are fabulous. Now let's talk about the braking setup on this motorcycle. We have a 320mm disc at the front, 240mm at the back, both powered by floating calipers from Vibre, pretty good bite, dual channel ABS, which gives you great safety on this motorcycle. Now let's hear how this motorcycle sounds, right? So let's turn it on, hit the power, and let's hit the gas. So this is the digital instrument cluster on this motorcycle. Pretty simple single circular unit. Has the warning signals here, a neutral light, a fuel warning signal. Then you have this digital speedometer, a RPM gauge, trip 1, trip 2, you get it here. Then you have the gear shift indicator, a watch, fuel gauge, and a side stand warning. That's pretty much about this pod. It's simple but very informative. The switches on this motorcycle are decently made. You have the pass switch, then you have the buttons to navigate through the instrument cluster. You have the indicator switch, then you have the horn button here. Here you have the engine start button, the hazard button, and the engine kill switch. That's pretty much about the setup here. The overall motorcycle look and finish is pretty good. While this is supposed to be a classically driven motorcycle, but the setup here is pretty modern. You have an overall LED setup with halogen bulbs on the indicators. You have telescopic suspension at the front, dual shock canister owned suspensions at the rear. Then talking about the exhaust system, while this is a single cylinder motorcycle, it has dual exhaust which looks like pea shooters. So that's whole in sum about the motorcycle, which is the Yazdi Roadster. Now let's go to this one, which is the Scrambler. This one is the second of the three motorcycles from Yazdi called the Scrambler. Now personally for me, this is the most attractive proposition of the three motorcycles launched by Yazdi. Why? Because this has everything that a guy today demands out of the motorcycle while they're going to customize it. You look at this one. This one is fabulously beautiful looking motorcycle. Custom indicators, may it be this one-sided slung pod, and may it be the tires on this motorcycle. The overall look and finish of this motorcycle is world class. Talking about the engine on this motorcycle, pretty similar to what we saw on the Roadster, slightly tuned differently. This one produces 29.1 PS of power, 28.2 Newton meters of torque, has the same 6-speed manual gearing setup, comes along with switchable ABS. That's a big feature. You can switch off the ABS when required. Now, the overall stance of the motorcycle is a pretty scramblery motorcycle. Mid variant pegs, tall and wide handlebar. Front you have a telescopic suspension, rear you have dual coil based canister based suspension. Overall riding stance of this motorcycle, this one has a bigger tire at the front. It's a 19-incher 100 by 90 section. At the rear you again have a 17-incher which is a 150 section tire. This look of the motorcycle gets enhanced by this pod which is slightly slanted towards one end. Now, talking about the braking setup, it is pretty similar to what we had on the Roadster. You have brakes powered by bi-brake, floating calipers, 320 at the front, 240 at the back. Apart from the overall look and the feel of the motorcycle, that's the nature difference between a Roadster and a Scrambler. What's different on this motorcycle? It stays same in terms of the overall LED setup and the pod here. But what's different is these exhausts, which are steel brushed exhaust on this one. They're again dual pod exhaust with a single cylinder engine. There's a front fender. Talking about the stance of the motorcycle, that is different. That's pretty much about it. How does this one sound? I think pretty similar. So now to tell us a little more about the pricing and the color options available for these two motorcycles, I have Ankur from the Yazdi team. So Ankur, tell us about the color options and the pricing of these two motorcycles.
आपको Yazdi में रोडस्टर में आपको 5 कलर्स मिल जाएंगे और स्क्रैम्बलर में आपको 6 कलर्स आएंगे, जिनकी प्राइसिंग जो होती है एक्स शोरूम 199, 142 से स्टार्ट होती है आपकी रोडस्टर, और अगर आप स्क्रैम्बलर पर आते हैं तो ये 2,05,900 रुपये एक्स शोरूम से स्टार्ट होती है गाड़ी। इसमें आपको 6 कलर्स मिल जाएंगे, 3 आपको इसमें डुअल टोन कलर आएंगे स्क्रैम्बलर में और 3 आपको सिंगल टोन कलर्स आएंगे। और इसी तरीके से आपको रोडस्टर के अंदर भी आपको 5 कलर्स आएंगे, जिसमें 2 कलर्स आपको क्रोम साइलेंसर्स के साथ में आएंगे और बाकी जो 3 कलर्स हैं वो आपको ब्लैक साइलेंसर्स के साथ में आएंगे। गाड़ी की जो अवेलेबिलिटी होगी वो बुकिंग से लगभग 25 डेज़ के आसपास आपको गाड़ी की अवेलेबिलिटी हो पाएगी।
शोरूम के बारे में थोड़ी सी डिटेल्स बता दीजिए।
शोरूम जो है ये हमारा श्रद्धा ऑटो केयर प्राइवेट लिमिटेड भोपाल प्रभात पेट्रोल पंप के पास में अवेलेबल है। जिसको भी टेस्ट राइड और गाड़ियों के बारे में और भी जानकारी चाहिए हो तो वो यहाँ पर आके विजिट कर सकते हैं। थैंक यू।
Thank you very much, Ankur. So this was the team On Way Mechanic today for you at the Yazdi showroom, giving you details of these two fabulous motorcycles. Don't forget to like our channel, subscribe, and watch our videos, comment on them. This was Shahbaz, back with you with On Way Mechanic. See you again. Ciao.